Hey everybody, it's Munson Steed, and there are beautiful things here. Sisters with superpowers. I'm all about the power of my sisters, the power of my ancestors, the queens that came before us that we recognize today, the Fannie Lou Hamers, the all the women that have come before us. When we think of Madam C.J. Walker, when we think of all of those who have made sacrifices for us, I want us to recognize that there are new Fannie Lou Hamers, and you have to be in all the industries, and you have to definitely. So when I think of Foria Wellness, I want to introduce you to a CEO that I want you to adapt and support. It is really important that we support our sisters with superpowers. If you don't understand, you're getting ready to hear something great. So tune in, understand, and welcome me, rolling out Sisters with Superpowers, Michele, Harrington, and Foria. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me on this platform. I mean, it's instrumental in educating the Black and Brown community about what Foria is and exactly how CBD can be of great beneficial value to our lives.
Well, I love that. And let's talk about that. Get right into it. CBD wellness, it's not just wellness, it's sexual wellness.
Yeah.
Kind of explain what that is.
Well, my role at Foria is I lead the multicultural marketing and brand ambassador influencer program. What that means is that I'm onboarding brand ambassadors to the table, not only to be able to help educate the masses about CBD, but to help us destigmatize the uses of CBD. I also ensure that our brand ambassadors and influencers receive a piece of the pie, which is so instrumental. You know, they can earn, not only can they earn, they can invest with Foria, just like I did. After almost a decade of helping grow my husband's company, I came on board with Foria, and it was just a natural fit.
What do you enjoy most about your role?
I think that I'm not afraid of a challenge. I make bold moves. I set my intentions for what I want. I'm no longer scared to try new things. And I make sure that I bring that energy to the business as well. I love that I'm so transparent and honest, and I don't sugarcoat anything. I believe that that's a beautiful quality for a woman, especially in a male dominated industry. Women need to speak up, share their knowledge, opinions. Don't be afraid to use your voice. And that's how I've been able to build trust with those I introduce Foria Wellness products to. They know that, one, I've done my research, and two, I'm not going to ever recommend anything that I don't completely stand behind. That's what makes me, that's the skills and qualities that I think make me unique.
Now, did they create this role for you? Did you identify this role for many? And I love what you say. Don't mute yourself. Don't reduce yourself as a woman. This is your moment. This is the moment to move forward. But all of a sudden, you got this new role at this great company. Can you share how it came about?
Yeah. When I brought the multicultural campaign to Foria, they were wowed by it. They hadn't tapped into this market. And I saw the benefits that it had for our people. I jumped headfirst in. I was so ready to make an impact in other people's lives, share my knowledge about the plant-based product. My husband has one of the first Black multinational cannabis brands in the world. And I just wanted to bring all of these ideas, all of the knowledge that I've acquired over the years to Foria and bring it to the Black and Brown community.
So when you talk about that, I think we really see what women are doing now. What has been your experience in the cannabis industry, though?
My experience has been pretty good. Having my husband as my mentor to kind of lead me along the way has been instrumental in how I've been able to be successful in this industry. The way Foria came about, as far as how we were introduced to it, it's a funny story. My husband came home from a BizCon, and he was so excited about this new product, and he had heard reviews from friends, and he's like, "We got to try this. We have to try this." And my first question is, I'm sensitive down there. is this going to change the pH in my vagina? Is this going to give me a yeast infection, bacterial vaginosis, all these different things? And of course, he had no idea the answer. So, after doing research and talking to a couple of people who had used the products, I realized that it was not only 100% plant-based, it was coconut oil-based, MCT oil. Our products are all 100% organic, and that it wasn't going to disrupt the pH balance down there. And once I realized that, we were gung-ho, straight ahead. We used the product, we loved it. And then I brought it to my friends, my family. I did a couple of Zooms. I wanted to make sure that this was the direction that I wanted to go in. After speaking with them, seeding them product, naturally, everyone was unanimous. Everyone loved the product and couldn't get enough of it. And then I realized a light went off. This could be my niche. This could be where I get into the business and I make an impact. And not many people knew about Foria. So that was my way of joining the business and being able to expand and tell more people about it.
So when you think about that, when we talk about sexual wellness and we think about that, for you, can you describe, because you even talked about BizCon, and one of the things that Sister Superpowers, people might hear what you said, BizCon, and not even know what that is, what your husband's attending, and knowing that they too should probably be attending a few BizCons. What is BizCon, and why don't you take us down what Euphoria is and kind of what's inside their product line?
So BizCon is like a conference. It was the MJ BizCon, and it's a conference where like minds meet. You see a couple of people on stage on panels. It's kind of like this, but physically. And this was pre-COVID. So they have several different products, several different things that maybe are not on the market yet or trying to break through to get into the market. And people are just sharing. And pretty much it's a networking event for sharing ideas and products. And that's where we found Foria. So Foria was established, let me just rewind a little bit. It was established in 2014 as the first cannabis, organic cannabis and hemp brand in the space. We are dedicated to the pleasure gap. 75% of women never reach orgasms from intercourse alone. And 10 to 15 don't climax under any circumstances. And here at Foria, we're here to bridge that pleasure gap. And I think that's a major issue, that we don't talk about sex as a community. It's always taboo, shh, don't talk about sex. And I think having these conversations, having this open dialogue is beneficial for all of us.
The beauty of you as a woman having this in this moment, because satisfaction, being able to be honest about, are you fulfilled as a woman? Can you share what Foria and their products, so those who haven't had the experience yet can kind of understand what they can look forward to?
Yeah, so I'll describe our top 3 sellers. So we have Awaken. Awaken is just that. It awakens your senses. It's for people with vulvas. So it's dedicated to it was created with the female anatomy in mind. And it's a vasodilator. So it helps facilitate blood flow to your vagina and your lips and your vulva, and it helps us reach climax more intensely. I always say foreplay is welcome, but with Foria products, it's not necessarily needed, because the product, what it does is it gets the blood flow going and it helps us achieve a more intense orgasm. And that's the Awaken oil. We also have a lubricant. And some people may say, oh, I don't need lube. I'm already enough wet down there. I don't need that extra added. But what a lube does is it enhances our experience. It helps us, it's a heightened sensation, in the interior of the vagina is really sensitive. It's like the interior of our mouths. So if you have enough friction, that can cause little tears in the vagina, making sex painful. So Foria has developed this lube with CBD that gets the blood flowing going to that area, and makes sex so much more enjoyable. And then we have suppositories for intimacy. If you have pain with sex, maybe the women in your life may suffer from vulvodynia, vaginismus, endometriosis, fibroids, anything that leads to painful sex. You can insert a suppository, and our suppositories are inserted either rectally or vaginally. And when you insert it, that's 50 milligrams to the point of pain. If we take something over the counter for pain, it has to go through our digestive system. It's not going to give us the full amount of pain relief to the areas that we need it. But with our suppositories, you're able to insert it, getting that pain relief right at the source. So those are our top 3 sellers, and they do very well for us. We also have relief for menstrual cramps, dryness, and then we have a wellness as well, a wellness line, which includes tonics and bath salts, etc.
I love the idea, but just in dialogue, how do you have and encourage couples to talk about using for your products, and how do they share, even sisters that may or may not have had the experience and don't understand the value of sharing with their partner because they're ashamed? How can we remove that so that couples can have those type conversations?
I think if you're going to have sex with somebody, you should be talking to that person. Communication, how is that person supposed to know how to please you if you're not talking to them? It can be trial and error, and over the years, that person can learn you. But if you talked out and started with that conversation, it leads to more beneficial and enjoyable sex with that other person. So I think the first thing we must do is communicate and talk about what excites you, what brings you pleasure in your alone time, because if you bring that to the bedroom, and I think Foria segues to that. Males, we aren't necessarily targeting males with our products, but males reap the benefits, because if it's opening a conversation to have with your partner, like, oh, how about we use these suppositories? I heard good things about it. It's opening up the conversation. And I think for men, it allows them to get more sex. So what man wouldn't want more sex? If you're talking about it and I'm bringing these products in the bedroom and I think that in itself is how you can get that conversation started.
Now, healthy dialogue so that we bring intimacy as a priority to relationships in an honest form. So I think that that sounds beautiful. Foria also has a great leader in you. Can you share just what your brand style is? I mean, literally, you're active, you're intelligent, you're a great representative of Sisters with Superpower. But how would you define your brand?
I want to be helpful. I want other Black women and men to focus on their self-care, learn that it's within reach. I think CBD is such a powerful plant-based product. It's helped so many people with their anxiety, inflammation within their body, sexual wellness concerns and dysfunctions. I joined Foria because I wanted to use my platform, my resources, and time to help others break that perpetual cycle of pain with CBD. I just think that, it's been an amazing journey thus far, and I can't wait to continue to implement the things that we have in store for them.
I love that. I really love that there's some healing in this area. I love that there's a sister with superpower who's really pushing us to look at ourselves, increase dialogue amongst couples, amongst community, so that there can be some healing. Because there's a lot of trauma in our community, a lot of lack of discussion, and bringing back pleasure to it. But for those women who are really thinking about cannabis, what should they know about getting in the cannabis space?
I think you should do your research. There's so many stigmas attached to cannabis. And I think that comes from people seeing in movies and on screen the recreational use of cannabis, the laziness, the high, you couldn't go to work because you were high. And I think that bleeds into the medicinal side of it. And it doesn't allow for us to fully embrace the many benefits of this plant. So I think educating yourself, one, on where we're going in this industry, because I think as long as we continue to educate people on CBD, the trajectory for this business by 2027 is $123 billion. So I just think that as long as you continue to educate yourself and find a mentor in the space, you can even reach out to me. You can DM me on social media. I'm always looking for people interested in cannabis, so that, you know, I can, because if I reach out to that one person can reach out to the next person, and that person becomes a catalyst for changing the narrative altogether.
You know, I love to change the narrative, and I think that for anybody out there, understand that Michele is truly a sister with superpowers, and she really wants us to consider and understand. I love you the most because you use my favorite word, research. Like, you know, I get so angry, and I tell young hustlers, I tell young brothers, I'm like, look, dude, I can save you a ton if you would just do research. Like, you know,
what do you want to do?
Right. And then shadow. Like don't even spin, just shadow for a minute and help another entrepreneur figure out how you fit. But there are a lot of young sisters and I mean young in entrepreneur life, don't necessarily have a mentor or a partner like your husband, one of the most respected brothers in the cannabis industry, but just businessmen, period. So shout outs to Brother Harrington and all that he does. Well, I just want, there's so many brothers that have gone into a complicated system that was against us and literally served time for something that they now have kind of legalized for some. And then there's stigma. And then we have needed a brother like him to be bold enough to say, don't close your mind to this opportunity, because we've been closed out and punished for this opportunity with many benefits. So shout outs and big support just to the brothers and the sisters who are in this industry that are pushing education. I love, once again, that word research. So it wasn't those just follow me into it. No, do the research, really think about it. The other thing is find a lane. One of the most beautiful things about this interaction, if you didn't glean from this, is Michele says, find a lane, find a place. So what's your word for all those young women who really are trying to figure out how to follow their passion, become entrepreneurs right now?
I spent the last 11 years as a stay-at-home mom. Yes, I've supported my husband. Yes, I've supported my husband. Yes, I've raised 4 children. But during that time, you know, I had to sit with myself and think through what I wanted to do and how was I going to make that happen. And I think that pivot from the pandemic helped me. You know, I wanted to show my children and other Black women that it's never too late to start or to pursue your own goals. I wanted them to see their mother and other Black women not only pull up their seat to the table, build your own table. Representation matters, and I believe it's possible for them too.
Well, I think the other thing is shout out to all the moms. Shout out to all those sisters, mother or not. Shout out that you are the queen. Shout out that you definitely have never been thanked enough. Shout out to all the sisters that literally have sacrificed anything to raise anything or support or to mentor. So whether you have children or don't, and you're mentoring and or not, shout outs. We cannot say thank you and we love you enough for all that you give, but more than anything, for all you sacrifice. I don't know that any sister with superpowers, and I kind of define sisters with superpowers as women who create safe spaces to actually create benefits for others. And I see this in any mom, in any sister that's in business, working to create safe spaces. And I mean that even in the dreams, so that others can see and look through your example as a possibility of what they can become.
For sure. And speaking with superpowers, like I think my superpower is being a mom of four and just keeping everything and everyone organized, being able to multitask, keep things going at home and in my professional life. I think that's the reason behind my success. Plus, I'm a Black woman. That's a superpower within itself. I go around sprinkling Black magic everywhere I go.
No, there's no doubt that it's a beautiful thing to see my sisters with superpowers in each and every industry. Health, we can't lean into enough. This is one of those areas. For as an example, CBD is a compounded example, and sexual wellness is clearly something that we all need to lean into. So I would love to thank you for being a part of Sisters with Superpowers. You are dynamic. Thanks for supporting my books and all of those Playful Genius. We appreciate that. Love the babies. And for all those sisters out there, be sure to follow Michele Harrington and know that
Mrs. Harrington 913 on
Mrs.
Instagram.
Harrington 913. And of course, me, Munson Steed. I just can be Munson Steed on all my platforms. And love you. Give my best to the kids and definitely a shout out. See your husband real soon. But continue to success with Foria and all that you do. And know that Rolling Out loves you so much for all you continue to be example of a sister with superpowers and a super mom and a super everything. But we love you the most because you are definitely a sister with superpowers in your own right.
Thank you so much for having me.
Talk to you real soon.
Yes.
Peace.